I've got it. I finally figured it out. Can you believe it? I have figured out the cause behind the plight of my black people. I finally know why so many of our black men sit caged in cinder block cells. Why so many mothers have crack cocaine coursing through their veins, nourishing their unborn child. I finally figured out why so many kids have become simple afterthoughts of their parents, spending their days high off weed, beginning their days with a blunt and a 40 ounce. This has become their breakfast of champions. I now know why so many fathers choose to duck out of their responsibility, hiding behind telephone poles on street corners, hoping friends of the court won't find them. I finally figured all of this out, and it only took me 32 birthdays, 10 years of college, 4 babies, and 3 degrees to do it. Can you believe it? I figured it out. You see, this guy, many years ago, came up with this concept he called the collective unconscious. Let's say it together. The collective unconscious. He believed that within all of us, now this is going to get deep, okay? He believed that within all of us, we have a memory of things that we aren't even aware of, a memory of things that didn't even happen to us, a memory of things that happened to our ancestors. If this theory holds true, and I apply it to me and you, it would mean that just like we inherited our wide noses, thick lips, and for some of us, our so-called good hair, we inherited something more, some things that are unseen. So if we have in our genetic makeup, in our DNA, a collective unconscious, I found the answer to the dilemma that has had so many sociologists, psychologists, and anthropologists up in arms, and so many politicians, Klansmen, and drug dealers cheering in delight. The collective unconscious. Could it be the inbred memory of our great-great-great-grandmother being shackled and forced to endure 4 months on a cold ship laying in her own waste in 1620 that has so many of us feeling stuck in 2020? Could the memory that great-great-great-granddad had of his children being pried, literally pried from his hands and sold on an auction block, could that be the motivating force behind so many of our fathers' absenteeism? Could it be the backwoods lynching and hanging of great Aunt Sadie that makes us fearful of revisiting our own rooted trees? Or could it be the assimilation great Uncle Tom resigned himself to that continues to have so many of us proclaiming, I'm not selling out to the white man? Well, guess what? You already did. Could it be our great-great-grandfather's memory of being hosed down with water hoses by men in blue and burned at crosses by men in pointy white hats that has so many of us saying F the police and the white man too? Could it be the hundreds of years of ideals, inventions, traditions that were stolen from us, that we can never take credit for, that has so many of us refusing to become educated, choosing instead to rob others? Could the effects of being told we were 3/5 a person, 3/5 a person, could that have so many of us generations later feeling less than whole? Could it be that I figured it out? Did I find the answer? I don't think you realize the implications of my discovery here. You see, way back in BC times, this great philosopher Cicero said, in the cause lies the cure. Let's say that together. In the cause lies the cure. Again, if this is true and I apply it to me and you, then I found the cause that all that plagues us, all that plagues our mentality, and we can stop all this madness.
Yeah, we can.
Perhaps with all the technology we have today, we can pinpoint a collective unconscious gene through some genetic mapping, possibly deactivate it, so that my children's children will have no memory of the pain, the horror, the inhumaneness that is our history. And without any memory, there's no way our present behaviors will continue to demonstrate this collective pain. Can you imagine this? Our streets cleared of crackheads because there'll be no more crack dealers after all. Our DNA will no longer carry the gene for self-hatred that has allowed so many to participate in genocide initiated when they started filling our streets with the little white rock. And of course, if there's no crackheads, there can be no more crack houses. So now my grandkids will no longer have to step around the discarded dreams and the low self-esteem that lines our streets. Biscuits and salmon croquettes will become the new breakfast of champions. Because without the collective unconscious knowing in our spirit, we will be appalled at the ideal of killing our brain cells and clouding our ability to come up with a cure for cancer. My beautiful daughters will no longer have to look for love and security outside of their race, because our black men will have a newfound self-worth that breaks down 8x8 cinder block cells. Reckless self-harm will be a thing of the past, because we would all regard our body as a temple, as a storehouse of possibility. Our memory of having our bodies mutilated, raped, and ravaged will not be part of our consciousness. Could you imagine a world like this? Could you imagine a world where every black man and woman assumed their rightful place and glorified God by becoming the reflection of Him He intended? But hold up, wait a minute. What if I'm looking at this collective unconscious thing all wrong? Maybe the same collective unconscious that maintains this madness is the collective unconscious that has allowed us to overcome, to persevere, to survive. Could it be the collective memory of horrendous nightmares that gave King his dream? Or the memories of being silenced that inspired Mahalia to sing? Perhaps the collective memory of being bound inspired Jordan to fly, and the memory of despair is what's kept hope alive. It may very well be the memory of illiteracy that gave Langston his words, and that very same memory that spirited this poem. Could it be the memories of being refused basics like ABCs and 1, 2, 3s that have motivated the BAs, the MAs, and the PhDs? Oh no, this presents a dilemma, you see, like sweet and sour, like the yin to the yang, like the first peak of sun after a late summer rain. The collective unconscious embodies both triumph and pain. So a delicate task it will require, you see, to separate our collective rage from our collective integrity. And this is a procedure of great complexity that will require a commitment from both you and me, a commitment from both you and me, to create a collective unconscious based on purpose and possibility. So my challenge for all of you right here today, is to ask yourself what maintains your present state. Gain understanding from your past as opposed to excuses. Because our past is just that, our past, you see. However, we need to get past and understand the part of our history that has divided us, that has broken us, that has led us astray, leaving too many of us nothing more than a modern day slave. So stand up, and assume your rightful place. Become the man, woman, child God intended you to be before it's too late. Thank you, everyone.